Okay, we gotta.
Actually, I need to be back there.
Let us take you to the land down under. How do I turn it down?
You also turn down like the bottom.
Fun fact, music editing was done by our one and only
my
Maureen
favorite
Garrett.
song.
So, why do you want to invest in Australia? Well, it's had 23 years of uninterrupted growth. Now this would be because of the innovative economy it has, and later we have a slide on all the different innovations that Australia is responsible for. And it's got a very talented workforce, the high percentage of multilingual people, as well as higher education. As well as its connection to Asia with trading and its ease of doing business. So creating a job or creating a business and conducting business in Australia is a lot easier than in other countries.
So the unemployment rate, as of the recent year, is 5.5%, and as you can see, it has been pretty steady with only tenths of a percentage with flux, which is pretty common for most countries. Pretty solid unemployment rate, and it is on the decrease.
So there aren't any trade deficits, so we are exporting more than we're importing, so we're making money. Debt's low, so that's good.
Not a debtor nation.
So that's definitely good for when you're trying to invest.
All right, so with inflation rates, the kind of general world goal is about 2% of inflation, because it gets that steady growth, but it's not so high that it's going to come crashing down right away. just kind of a steady thing. And Australia is right around there with 1.7%.
GDP per capita is $54,000. This U.S. dollars for comparison.
And it's a billion.
That's right. $54,000 billion.
Yep.
Which is pretty amazing. So yeah.
And then
The overall GDP of the country would be $1.38 trillion, which is pretty much everything that they're bringing into their country. That Y equals Signix that we've been working on all semester gives us that big number right there.
this is how they're pretty innovative. So Google Maps, that's pretty big down there. And like high-speed Wi-Fi. I mean, who doesn't love that, right? So the Bionic Eye, they're like the lead developer in that. And I guess college is around Australia. So cancer vaccine, spray on skin and burn victims. So a lot of stuff like in the medical department's coming from Australia, and yes.
Contributing a lot to the world economy.
Yeah.
And cochlear implants, which is a really big deal for deaf people. Yeah, if you get that when you're young enough, it can pretty much allow you to hear.
Yep.
So this is what I was talking about earlier with the workforce that has a higher education. 40% of the workforce having a higher education is a pretty big deal, especially when you're like looking at other countries throughout the world.
That's amazing, isn't it?
40% is a pretty big number.
So, as you can see from the previous video, Australia is very diverse with activities, and tourism is 10% of the GDP. And some of the top tourist attractions are the Sydney Opera House, which can be depicted right here, and also in Finding Nemo, the Monaco Beach, which can be seen here, and the Great Barrier Reef, which can be seen here.
Great scuba diving location.
So those all bring in a lot of money from many tourists, and it's a year-round tourist attraction. They don't really have too big of a season flux.
And on with the tourist attractions and how that helps with their economy, it allows a lot of jobs to be created with in airports and bringing in money that way and feeding money back into their economy with allowing their people to have jobs.
So they're connected to Asia. So most of like the trading they do is with Asia, and as you know, Asia is like booming economy as well. So it's really nice to have them in our back pocket, I guess you could say, with 42% of Australia's GDP in trades to Asia, and all parts of Asia for that matter.
So Australia has the second largest liquid stock, which is very good for investors because that means that if you invest, you pretty much can automatically get your money if you want it right away.
Yeah. And it's easy to trade, so that's good.
So this is the ease of doing business that we were talking about, and in the freedom of economy, yeah, there we go. We got the zoom in on the graph so we can see it.
So you can see.
So you can see the graph. As you can see, it's the third freest country at 82% free, and on the economic freedom scale, and anywhere from 80 to 100% means there's not a whole lot of government interference there. Even U.S., which is land of the free, it's 12. Sorry, U.S.
75.5.
Australia
It's
comes
better.
in third. They are free.
114.
Russia, 140.
Get turned.
Oh shoot. There. Oh wait. I'm going the wrong way. There we go. So we're ranked 4th in fuels and mining, which is a big deal. It's not something you really think about in Australia, but it's a big deal. So, $161.6 billion in exports. So that's very important, and a lot of their GDP and the money they get comes from this. So.
99% literacy rate in adults, which is good because if the people in your country know how to read, then you're going to have a pretty good economy. If the people in your country don't know how to read, then they won't read the newspaper, they won't know what's going on in your country, and they won't be able to invest when they need to, put their money where they need to, or get jobs.
High literacy rate. All right, and this is their predicted GDP growth. So as you can see, it was on the upward trend, took a little dip. It's predicted to take a little dip this year, but moving into 2016 and later, it's expected to grow back up, and the percentage growth rate is going up. So go Australia.
Yeah.
This is a pretty big deal because low debt, as we all know, U.S. is in a lot of debt right now. But along with all of these, it's on the third lowest. So 16.6% debt is pretty good for Australia.
Very stable. It's very stable because
Yeah.
you know that they won't have to lose a lot of their money to pay back their debt.
Yep. So it's pretty cool that 15% of their workforce is multilingual. So basically, the people there are pretty awesome. Like, they've got it going on. They're very smart, and that's helpful for running a great government and economy. So.
Allows for more trade with other countries too.
No, if I can interrupt, do you know what's the reason why they are multilingual?
Because of their
Because they are very far away from everywhere else. So why would they start it?
Immigrants.
Because Australians are open borders with Australia. So you have a lot
What is
of
it?
foreigners.
Yeah.
Aboriginal?
Subdivisions will speak their own language.
Your girlfriend.
That's what we used to do in Australia.
Agriculture is the top export in Australia.
So these are the top 10 export destinations. So as you can see, China is the first and Japan is the second. So a lot of, like we said earlier, we export a lot to Asia. So that's pretty good. Also the U.S. is the fifth.
because that exports to Asia, it supports their growing markets and therefore supports the world economy and kind of keeps the circle going.
Home of 20 of the world's top 400 universities, and which goes back to like them being a very high educated country, which increases investment, increases GDP, makes a stronger, more stable economy.
And also when you think about the size of Australia in comparison to the size of the world, like out of the top 400 universities, the fact that this smaller nation in comparison to everything has 20 of them, that's pretty good numbers for you.
Okay, so now we're gonna stop it.
The video.
Oh no,
I was gonna say.
Oh, is this it?
Yeah.
Okay, that's much. Oh man,
So-
that would have been.
So this video, this
I'm
video
blushing.
is from the Australian government, and it has a lot of important people from Australia talking about their economy and why it is good to invest. And we're gonna listen to it. And I might interrupt a couple times to concur.
And globally connected.
I know.
Australia, smart for investment. A resilient economy. Innovative. And globally connected. A wealth of investment opportunities.
Why do you want to come to Australia? Talent, the maturity of the economy, economic growth, world-class universities, time zone, the list goes on and on.
This guy knows what he's talking about.
Regulators and it has very transparent and predictable regulatory responses. We have a very stable political environment. We also have very sound taxation and predictable taxation regimes.
Australia offers a safe and secure location for investment. Our business environment is open, competitive and accountable. And our economy is resilient. It remained strong during the global financial crisis, performing well compared to other advanced economies.
We're looking at potential growth in Australia over the next few years up close to 4%. That's at a time when potential growth in the advanced world